Here are the top stories for today, July 19, 2019. The AFP hails President Duterte's rapport with troops as one of his significant contributions to the country. A Los Angeles consulate official defends the government's support for indigenous peoples as they speak out against the abuses of the CPP-NPA. The water level in Angat Dam returns to its critical level after days of heavy rain. And the United States government pledges 234 million pesos in humanitarian aid for Marawi City.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte is set to announce his achievements and contributions to the country in his fourth State of the Nation address on Monday. For the armed forces, it is his rapport and support for the troops that is one of his most important contributions. Miguel Hill has this report.
President Rodrigo Duterte's frequent visit to military camps and taking time for the troops is one of his most significant contributions to the security sector. This is aside from supporting the ongoing modernization of the AFP and doubling the pay of all military personnel. AFP Public Affairs Chief Noel De Toyato said President Duterte has not only pursued and continued the AFP modernization, but also displayed his genuine concern for the welfare of the soldiers. He noted how the chief executive also takes time to talk and listen to what frontline troops say and to empathize with them and their families. Earlier, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana said the continued support of the President to the AFP modernization and doubling of salaries of troops heightened the sense of duty on all active duty military personnel. Through the MUP pension increase, Lorenzana said the sacrifice and dedicated service of all Filipino soldiers have been truly and duly recognized. He said their doubled salaries ensured that their families are well taken care of, while acquiring modern equipment makes them more confident in fulfilling their duties and feel at par with neighboring countries. He said Duterte's unparalleled support for the armed forces serves as their guiding light as they continue to pursue their duty to the Filipino nation. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, will form a prosecution panel to handle the criminal complaints filed by the PNP-CIDG in connection with the revelations made by Peter Jomel Advincula alias Bicoy. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said the panel will investigate charges of sedition, inciting to sedition, cyber libel, estafa, harboring a criminal, and obstruction of justice against at least 37 individuals, including Vice President Leni Robredo. Also named in the complaints were former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, Senators Risa Ontiveros and Laila de Lima, former IBP President Abdiel Fajardo, incumbent IBP President Egon Cayosa, former Supreme Court spokesman Theodore Te, lawyers Minerva Ambrosio, Serafin Salvador, and Philip Sawali. Also named were senatorial candidates Samira Gutok Tomawis, Bam Aquino, Attorney Lorenzo Erin Artañada III, Gary Alejano, Florin Hilbay, Romulo Macalintal, and Chel Diokno. Likewise charged were several other private individuals and church officials and priests. A certain alias Centrix and John Doe were also named in the so-called Project Sodoma, which was hatched to discredit administration candidates and back opposition senatorial bets in the May 13 elections. A Los Angeles consulate official said it is a patriotic choice for government workers to help tribal leaders and fellow Filipinos in their quest for peace and development. Philippine Deputy Consul General Ambrosio Brian Enciso III said there is nothing wrong with helping the legitimate government of the Philippines. Enciso reacted to reports about left-leaning groups claiming that the speaking engagements of 8 tribal leaders across the United States are state-sponsored due to the assistance provided by the different consulates. He said he believes the indigenous leaders are doing the right thing to make their voices heard rather than have other groups with other agendas speak for them. He expressed gladness on behalf of Consul General Adelio Angelito Cruz in hosting the dedicated IP, adding it is important to listen to the own personal accounts of the IP leaders. The tribal leaders are now on the last leg of their speaking trip in the United States to break their silence against deception, abuses, and atrocities committed by the Communist Party of the Philippines and its armed wing, the New People's Army. Rescue operations are ongoing for 2 Filipinos who went missing in Thailand. The Department of Foreign Affairs, through the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, is actively monitoring the case of 2 Filipinos who went missing at Freedom Beach in Phuket a few days ago. The 2 were reportedly at the beach playing in the sea during a heavy storm when they were swept away and have not yet been seen since. Reports said the search was temporarily suspended on Thursday morning due to bad weather. The embassy was notified by the Royal Thai Police and a group of Filipino tourists in Phuket about the case on Wednesday. Meantime, the embassy continues to coordinate with the authorities on the case as well as respond to the needs of the family and friends of the 2 missing Filipinos. The Presidential Human Rights Committee refuses to acknowledge the resolution of the UN Human Rights Council to investigate the country's war on drugs. More on this and other news around the metro from Janice Cabe.
The Presidential Human Rights Committee will not recognize the resolution of Iceland passed by the UN Human Rights Council, which calls for the investigation of the country's drug war. PHRC Executive Director Severo Catura said the 27,000 deaths reported by the UNHRC is the same data trumpeted by critics of the Duterte administration. He said, based on government data, there are only 5,526 drug personalities who died in legitimate operations, while over 190,000 were arrested. Catura said there are many ways for the UNHRC to find out the actual number of deaths in the war on drugs. Meanwhile, power was cut for nearly an hour in some cities in Metro Manila before noon Thursday after a fault transpired in the Gardner substation of Meralco in Muntinlupa City. In a statement, the power distribution company said the fault affected 4 of Meralco's downstream substations in Taguig and Makati. It said the power interruption was experienced by consumers in Makati, Manila, Pasay, Pasig, Pateros, San Juan, and Taguig. The power company is still investigating the cause of the fault. In other news, Malacanang wished Senator boxer Manny Pacquiao good luck on his WBA super welterweight title bout with undefeated American boxer Keith Thurman. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said, although he was aware that the younger and taller Thurman is a good boxer, Pacquiao is just as good. Thurman, who has been world champion since 2013, holds a perfect 29-0 record with 22 knockouts, while Pacquiao, who is 10 years older, has won 12 major world with 61 wins, including 39 via knockouts and 7 defeats and 2 draws. The Pacquiao-Thurman match will be held at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday, July 21, Manila time. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Still to come, the water level in Angat Dam returns to critical level after days of heavy rain. And Filipino businessmen are urged to look for opportunities in the U.S.-China trade war. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues. The water supply at Angat Dam has improved after its reserves returned to critical levels. Pag-asa said Angat Dam's water level went up to 160.16 meters or up by 1.94 meters following days of heavy rain. Despite the increase in water level, a shortage is still possible as Angat was still below its operating level at the 180 water mark. The La Mesa Dam in Quezon City also went up by 0.26 meters at 73.10 meters, while the Ipo Dam in Bulacan also increased by 0.24 meters at 100.96 meters. Meanwhile, cloud seeding operations over Angat and La Mesa will continue despite the previous rains. The Department of Agriculture said this will help increase water supply and prevent water interruption. The Department of Transportation signed today a department order permanently allowing hatchbacks as Transport Network Vehicle Service or TNVS is ongoing. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade signed the order which covers hatchbacks and subcompact cars. He earlier instructed the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to implement a memorandum circular which allows hatchback units to operate on certain conditions. All accredited hatchback units will be allowed to operate as TNVS, provided they only operate within the 3-year transition period, only within Metro Manila, and charge a lower fare. These accredited hatchbacks are part of a 55,000 units in the master list made by transport network companies like Grab in cooperation with the LTFRB. Of the 55,000 units in the master list, 2,235 are hatchback units that filed their applications. Southeast Asian nations are encouraged to exploit every opportunity to profit from the bitter trade war between economic giants China and the United States. Both countries have reportedly experienced a decline as a result of the MELI, which opens fresh opportunities for Filipino businessmen and economists, but they said legislative support is needed. Semiconductor and Electronics Industries in the Philippines Foundation Incorporated President Dan Lachica called on policymakers to further enhance incentives while reducing the cost of doing business. He cited on how April 2018, the Philippines lost out to a $17.2 billion investment by Samsung due to a much better offer from Vietnam. Meantime, Ecozone firms report that tax incentives have led to the creation of over 7 million jobs and over $54 billion worth of exports. Philippine tax incentive policies have also been successful, such that regional rivals like Vietnam and Thailand have aggressively implemented similar policies. These firms reiterate that limiting these incentives and perks will restrict ease and attractiveness of doing business in the Philippines. A New People's Army rebel was killed while a soldier was wounded in an encounter in Zamboanga, Sibugay. The firefight erupted Wednesday afternoon in Barangay Diampak, Cabasalan. Lieutenant Colonel Don Templo Nuevo, the Army's 44th Infantry Battalion commander, said the firefight ensued when the troops responded to the report about the presence of NPAs extorting money and food from residents. The troops recovered an M16 Armalite rifle and subversive documents with high intelligence value after the clash. He said the wounded soldier was rushed to the nearest hospital. Brigadier General Bagnus Gaerlan Jr., the Army's 102nd Infantry Brigade commander, thanked the locals for taking action against the NPA's threat in their localities. Gaerlan called on the NPA, especially those who were wounded, to come out to receive proper medical treatment and return to the folds of the law. Major General Roberto Angkan, Army's 1st Infantry Division commander, expressed sympathy to the family of the slain NPA. The DILG monitors 40 investment scams operating in Mindanao. Meanwhile, over 4,000 families affected by the 2013 Bohol earthquake received new homes. More on these and other news from the provinces from Benj Bondo.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government has monitored a total of 40 investment firms that are nothing but Ponzi schemes designed to cheat investors. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año vowed the DILG will play an active role in stopping the various fraudulent investment scams in Mindanao, starting with the filing of cases. Año said that the one operated by Kappa Ministry International ranked as the worst as it went on for 3 years. He said DILG will run after those who openly support fraudulent schemes and those who fail to stop them. In Bohol, the Department of Social Welfare and Development and Habitat for Humanity Philippines led the turnover of over 4,000 houses to the survivors of the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that struck Bohol in 2013. The residents from 17 towns in the province received certificates of completion, acceptance, and occupancy from the DSWD. The core shelters were built with a modified design that is more resistant to earthquakes and typhoons. In other news, a Zamboangueño nurse has won the Consuelo Gomez Arabit Award for Excellence in Perioperative Nursing. Angelo Clarito Kawasa, a resident of Barangay Santa Maria, was assigned for 7 years at the Zamboanga City Medical Center. Kawasa brought home a plaque and cash prize in the awarding ceremony held last weekend at the Fiesta Pavilion of the Manila Hotel. The award is given annually to nurses assigned in the operating room. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
Up next, the United States government pledges 234 million pesos in humanitarian aid for Marawi City. And DepEd gives persons deprived of liberty a chance to obtain education in prison. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders. The United States government on Thursday announced an additional 234 million pesos in humanitarian assistance to the ongoing rehabilitation of Marawi City. In a statement, U.S. Ambassador Sung Kim expressed the U.S. government's continuous commitment to support the Philippine government in helping restore normalcy in the lives of the Filipinos affected by the Marawi conflict. This fresh funding by the United States Agency for International Development brings to more than 3.4 billion pesos the total contribution of Washington to the Marawi recovery. Part of the said amount will be used to provide 2,600 residents with emergency shelter assistance, in addition to the nearly 33,000 who have previously benefited. U.S. aid will also deepen its existing efforts within Marawi City and Lanao del Sur to expand water and sanitation services and enhance safe spaces to protect women and children from exploitation and violence. Meantime, its 6-year Mindanao Youth Development Program has entered its last leg this 2019, which already benefited around 25,719 as of April. In our foreign news, at least 33 people are left dead and dozens injured after a suspected arson attack at an animation studio in Kyoto, Japan. The fire broke out at the 3-story building of Kyoto Animation at around 10:30 local time on Thursday. Eyewitnesses described the loud explosion followed by an inferno that rapidly engulfed the building. Police said the suspect, a 41-year-old man, broke into the studio and sprayed gasoline before igniting it. The suspect has been detained and was taken to the hospital with injuries. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe expressed shock at the incident and offered condolences to those affected. Meanwhile, fans grieved over the incident and expressed solidarity. A GoFundMe campaign has been started for the studio, with nearly $500,000 already being raised. Kyoto Animation, or KyoAni, is known for producing popular animation shows such as K-On!, Violet Evergarden, and The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. And in sports, the Philippine Sports Commission, in partnership with Australia-based Filipino coach Patricia Puson, is planning to conduct Women in Sports Conference next year. PSC Oversight Commissioner for Women Celia Kiram said they hope to reach and help more Filipina coaches. Kiram said she and PSC Chairman William Ramirez seek to develop more women coaches to pursue a larger program for women in sports in the country. Puson, who is the current head coach of Max Crankit Tennis Academy in New South Wales, Australia, said an initial proposal will be submitted to the PSC to push through the conference. More than 150 national coaches, trainers, and sports representatives attended the WIS Leadership and Coaching Seminar in Manila, held from July 15 to July 18. Persons deprived of liberty can now improve their means towards a second chance in life by getting an education even while in jail. This is made possible by the Department of Education's Alternative Learning System. More on this from Janice Cabe.
True to its mission not to leave any learner behind, the Department of Education continues to offer quality basic education to inmates through the Alternative Learning System. DepEd ALS Program Task Force Head G.H. Ambat says they reach out to those in prisons, drug rehabilitation centers, or juvenile delinquency centers and offer a chance to study. Ambat said the DepEd partners with the Bureau of Corrections to empower inmates through education and help them have a second chance in life. To avoid discrimination, Ambat said inmates' diplomas would not include the names of prisons and rehabilitation facilities where they completed their basic education. For the school year 2018 to 2019, DepEd's ALS has served 843,000 learners, including those who can go straight to college. To ensure that ALS learners become employment ready, Ambat said they have started with the improvement of the ALS curriculum by adding life skills for community engagement and work readiness. Ambat added the DepEd is looking into providing ALS learners national certification for the skill they have learned to show that they can keep up with the times. Ambat urged inmates to take the ALS since it is free and life-changing. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Pag-asa is monitoring a tropical depression that entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR this morning. Tropical depression Goring developed from a low-pressure area that already left the country. Public storm warning signal number 1 was raised over Batanes. Goring is expected to leave anytime tonight or Saturday morning. Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
The AFP hails President Duterte's rapport with troops as one of his significant contributions to the country. A Los Angeles consulate official defends the government's support for indigenous peoples as they speak out against the abuses of the CPP-NPA. The water level in Angat Dam returns to its critical level after days of heavy rain. And the United States government pledges 234 million pesos in humanitarian aid for Marawi City.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And remember, the most important decision you make is to be in a good mood, because if you are in a bad mood, you tend to make a lot of bad decisions. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.